Hi everyone, welcome back to the 80-Hour Developer. As you'll recall, this is a course about how to go from zero software experience to being able to be paid for your development efforts with 80 hours of work on your side. So we're going to start today by going into what are the prerequisite tools, software, and understandings that you have to have going into this. As I mentioned in the first video, this course really comes from my experience in bringing on junior developers and getting them up to speed as quickly as possible. And so the first thing that's incredibly important is, what is the computer that we're developing on? And for me, there's no question that has to be a Mac. I am a die-hard PC fan, or I was a die-hard Windows and PC fan from way back. I got my first laptop about 18 years ago and did nothing else but work on that laptop on every Windows system that came out with it. I used to joke with all my friends who had Macs that when they wanted to do real work, they should put away their toys and get a Windows machine. And I look back and realize that A, I was stupid to say that because it was just a jerk move, and B, I was dead wrong. Especially when it comes to software development, in my experience, the world belongs to Macs. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who say that's not true, that you can do a lot of great work in Windows, there's lots of great programs, and I'm just stupid for saying that Mac is the way to go. And they might be right, but for this course, everything is going to assume that you're working on a Mac. And you're going to find that's true of most software development books and courses. They're going to assume that you're working on a Mac. I spent way more hours than I'm comfortable admitting trying to make stuff work on a Windows machine, trying to get something to work that just worked in the tutorial I was watching. You know, I remember ripping my hair out. You can see how little of it I have left. But I remember ripping my hair out, trying to figure out why something that worked so seamlessly in the tutorial I watched didn't work for me. Right? The 5-minute video I was watching, it took me 6 hours to get my machine to do what it was supposed to do. And it did nothing to help me learn to code. It did nothing to help me learn to program. It was all about getting my tools working properly. And so the less that we have to worry about that, the easier it is to learn the real work of software development. So I've got a couple of my favorite quotes here. Civilization advances by extending the number of important operations which we can perform without thinking of them. I use this line of thinking a lot in my corporate work. I use it even more when I'm working with new software developers. What we want is to put all of your focus and all of your attention on what's important, and that is writing good code. It's not trying to track down what DLL file you need to download to get this to work on your local machine. It's not trying to figure out why you're getting this crazy stupid error that nobody else on the internet seems to be able to replicate. What you want to do is to put all of your effort into the logic of programming. And so that's the reason I suggest getting a Mac, because every tutorial that you're going to see in here, every video I recommend to you, every video that I create is built on a Mac, and you're going to find very few resources that assume that you're on a Windows machine. More importantly, at least for the purpose of this course, there are some tools here that only exist on a Mac, and trying to replicate those tools or trying to find the closest analog on a Windows machine is just going to be a pointless waste of your time. Right? Well, you should be trying to focus on the actual workflow. You're going to be focused on finding a program that does something similar. And I'll give you a really easy example. This little stack of pancakes here is one of my favorite pieces of software ever. It's called SQL Pro. It is the easiest way to interact with databases, whether they're on your local machine or a production machine, that I have ever used. If you're on a Windows machine, you don't get SQL Pro. And if you're trying to work both on your local machine and on a remote machine, you're going to have to install some stupid crazy thing called PuTTY in order to allow you to SSH in, and I'm already boring myself, let alone any of you poor people who are just starting to get into programming. Suffice it to say, programs like this make life easy. We like it when life is easy. So use a Mac. Now, some people say to me, Sean, that it's unfair. Macs are more expensive. Way more people have Windows machines than Macs. You can't expect everybody to go out and buy a new Mac. No, go buy a used one. What I am saying, though, is that if you're considering this as a profession, then this is one of the tools that you need to have. Right? You wouldn't say, I'm going to go be a carpenter, but I don't want to buy a hammer. I can pound in that nail with my forehead. Technically, you're correct, but it's going to be a lot messier and a lot more painful. So just go and spend the money on the right tool. Okay? So that's this point here. You need a Mac, no excuses. Next point. We're going to be using a lot of references to Laracasts. This is a site by Jeff Way. Jeff Way is a genius. He is responsible for more incredible content in software development than pretty much anybody else I've ever seen. Laracast is incredibly underpriced. For only $15 a month, you get access to literally hundreds of incredibly powerful videos. The rest of this course is mostly going to be me curating the best Laracast courses for you as a beginner and giving you the homework to do the Laracast courses, and then we'll do some preliminary work and some wrap-up work. So this is a requirement. You have to join Laracasts. Okay, I am a proud member of Laracast's Forever program. It is the best money that I have ever spent. Depending on when you're watching this link may still be valid. And this is just an incredible deal. $250 for lifetime access to Laracasts. There is no better way to invest your money than this, okay? In fact, if you have to choose between getting a Mac and getting Laracasts, get Laracasts. Laracast is incredibly valuable. Obviously, for the purpose of this course, you don't have to choose. Going through this course, I'm assuming you have both of these things. Okay, so Laracast is incredible. You're going to see for yourself, but you need to get it. Okay, so start out, if you need to, start out with the monthly, but I think very quickly you're going to want to upgrade to Forever. And as I said, if this link is still working by the time you're watching this, it's a no-brainer. The final tool that we're going to need is PHP Storm. This is what's called an IDE, an Integrated Development Environment. Okay, so let's get a little technical here for probably the first time in this course. If you've done any software development before, if you've spent any time on Stack Overflow or Quora or any of the other corners of the internet where techies go to talk, you might hear a debate about whether or not to use an IDE. Right? Some people say, "Oh, they're magic. They make it too easy. It's you don't need to actually learn development or learn the language. The IDE does everything." This is hyperbole. It is crazy to try to learn a language, to try to learn a new skill while handicapping yourself and not giving yourself the best tools available. And an integrated development environment is a must for practical software development, at least from the point of view of me and this course and all the work that we're going to do in this course. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who can make a great argument about why it's great to write all your code out in pencil and paper and take a picture of it and have it OCR'd in and use that as the only software development method, or write it on a whiteboard and have somebody transcribe it for you. But that's not what we're going to do here. We're going to work with the best tools that we have that make our life easy and let us focus on the most important thing, which is getting working software out to our clients. And to do that, we need an integrated development environment. JetBrains is incredible. They've got a program called PHP Storm. We're going to be using the PHP language, specifically the Laravel framework. You might have got a hint about that by if you have a familiar with Laracasts. So get PHP Storm. It's going to be an incredible help for you in getting all of our work done. Okay. You can do a trial with them. I think they've got a 30-day trial, and then you can get it for $90 a year. Again, if you're looking at this as a way to do professional development, you need to invest in the right tools. Right? Don't spend 10 hours trying to figure out a better way to do something when you can spend, $90 and have it done, right? Don't waste your time. Your time is an incredibly valuable resource. And in fact, as you start developing and as you start getting paid projects from clients, you're going to need to find every way you can to reduce the amount of time you spend so that you can instead use that time in developing and delivering software to your clients. So this is an incredible time saver. I'm going to make extensive use of PHP Storm throughout this process. I'm going to make extensive use of Laracasts, and of course I'm going to make extensive use of the Mac. So these are the three things that are must-haves. Okay, you need a Mac, you need Laracasts, and you need PHP Storm. I've got down here use Valet. I'm going to talk about this more in a later video. We're in fact going to go over the entirety of the workflow from creating software, or from getting specifications from our clients, or getting an idea for something that we want to create, and then turning it into software. One final thing I want to mention is there's a piece of software called Jira that allows you to very easily create tickets and then move them from to do to in progress to done. This is a fantastic tool. I use Jira in my company. All of my developers are required to use Jira. But what we're going to do as our capstone project is we're going to create a very stripped down version of Jira. So you can use Jira. I highly recommend that you use it. But by the time this course is done, I'm going to have a free version that everybody here will be welcome to use. And in fact, we're going to be building it together. So you can use your own ticketing app that you built, you can use the one that I have built, or you can continue to use Jira. But you're going to need to use some sort of ticketing application for our workflow. So I will get into that more when we get into kind of the general workflow side of things. But just know you're going to need some sort of ticketing application. Okay. Finally, there's a Chrome plugin that I recommend, and on that note, use Chrome. Chrome is a developer's best friend. We can use Chrome developer tools to do a lot of great work. I'm going to get deeply into this in future videos, but again, for the same reasons as before, don't try to figure out how to follow along with what I'm doing on Firefox or Internet Explorer or Safari. Use Chrome. If you have to say to yourself, I'm just using it for this course, and for everything else I'm going to keep using my favorite, great, do that. Similarly, if you want to keep using your PC and your Windows machine for everything else, great, get a Mac for development only. That's what I did a few years ago, and I very quickly shifted everything over to the Mac. But if you want to say, look, I'm just going to get the Mac for development to follow along with this program, that's fine, right? I'm not an evangelist here. I'm just saying for the use of this program, for the use of this course, you need to use all these tools. So here's a Chrome tool called Video Speed Controller. I can't live without this. What this allows you to do is very quickly and easily change the speed of videos really anywhere on the internet. It works perfectly on YouTube, it works on Facebook videos, it works on Vimeo videos, it works anywhere. So you can very quickly set up your keyboard shortcuts. Mine, I think I've got set to Control-D, and that will immediately start speeding up video. What you're going to find is that you may find that I speak too slowly. You may find that you understand me better if you speed up these videos to 1.5 or 2 times speed. You may find that there are times when I'm explaining something you already understand and you just want to skip through it and get to the parts that are new to you. By all means, I highly recommend using Video Speed Controller and speeding up until you get to a point where you need to give more concentration to. Okay, so that is my list of tools, prerequisites, requirements. This comes back to my second quote on here. If you want to teach people a new way of thinking, don't bother trying to teach them. Instead, give them a tool, the use of which will lead to new ways of thinking. This is an incredibly powerful quote. I use this with my clients a lot. Not putting this into place cost me a lot of time and effort when I was first learning programming. Right? I was trying to learn a new way of thinking. I was trying to learn the abstract art of computer programming. Instead, when I got the right tools and I got a goal at the end of it, it became so much easier to learn to program. I didn't need to learn or try to memorize abstract concepts. Instead, I got to say, look, I want to build a web page that allows me to accept emails from people, that is easy to update, and that that allows me to create tickets for new to-do items. What do I need in order to do that? Then I could find the resources specifically around that. I could find the tools that made that easy and get to work. So we're going to be giving you, the tools. We're going to give you the direction in sample projects, and I hope that you find this as useful as I did. So our 2 quotes here, I think we've covered them extensively. We've got all the tools that we're needing. So please get all this stuff set up, get ready, because in our next video, we're going to dive into the actual start of your programming adventure and writing that iconic Hello World program in PHP for the first time. All right, thanks so much, everybody.